comic book series Unfamiliar has 2 volumes out that you can buy right now, so check the link in the description if you're interested. Okay, thank you, bye. Hey everybody, it's LavenderTowne, and today I'm going to be drawing the characters from the amazing digital Circus in their human forms, or at least as close as I could guess them. Now, starting with Pomy, I'm actually just using this as a quick warm-up because, as anyone who's watched it knows, Pomy basically is already in a human form. I mean, she does look very cartoony and sort of like rubber hose, but she doesn't look nearly as inhuman as a lot of the other supporting characters. So since they're gonna have bigger, more dramatic transformations, I thought just drawing her in my style is kind of a fun way to start the video. I really love Pomy, and I'm way into this series. I didn't think I was gonna like it at first, but as soon as I started watching, I realized that there's something very special about it. Indie animation is really having a big moment right now, and I think it is kind of related to the fact that I feel like a lot of the major animation studios have been playing it safer and safer and releasing more and more remakes, and generally losing track of how exciting and wild animation can be. And Amazing Digital Circus really pushes 3D animation in a way that I haven't seen before. I really like the meta usage of things like collision issues in a 3D program, or like the phasing of 3D objects through each other, as ways to use the medium both in comedic scenes and in plot-related scenes. I think that that's really cool. Okay, so the first character I was dying to draw as a human is Kane, which stands for Creative Artificial Intelligence Networking Entity. Kane is kind of the main antagonist of the show, if you can call it that, though I definitely do feel bad for him, but he's the one who keeps making them go on adventures, and he's some kind of AI. He kind of casts himself as the ringmaster. He's in charge of the circus, and everyone else who's kind of like not sure how they got there or what to do, they're all kind of at his whim. He can clearly completely dissolve the NPCs, even though they do seem to be sentient, which is pretty disturbing, and it's not clear how much power he really has, but it's clear that it's a lot. He can really teleport people around, and yeah, he's very powerful. He seems almost like a god. He is dressed like a ringmaster, and I'm going to keep most of his costume the same because, you know, it's a relatively human-shaped body and I can still use most of it. But I have to include these amazing teeth he's got here around his face somewhere, because I just think that's such an interesting kind of framing device for the area where his face would be, were he not just floating eyeballs in a mouth. I knew I wanted to do the bottom jaws as sort of like this cool choker up at the top of his tucks, and then I also had some kind of like mysterious floating teeth around. I also had underneath the brim of his top hat some more kind of like teeth brim around his hair. I really tried to keep his personality in mind. He's an interesting character. We have seen a lot of these kind of like wild, scary, Lovecrafty, godlike ringmaster characters, but he still stands out on his own. He has these moments where it seems like he's about to completely snap, but generally he does try to seem like he's trying to give everyone a good time and make everyone have fun, even when they're actively telling him that they don't want to do this and that this isn't fun for them. He still seems to be under the impression sometimes that he is genuinely creating fun and entertaining adventures for them that they will definitely enjoy. Another key thing about him is that he's got heterochromia, so he has one blue eye, one green eye. I thought it would be really cool to have these sort of like spiky colored eyelashes, and I swapped the colors between the two eyes just to really emphasize that little detail on him. I think it looks cool. This one wasn't too bad to design, mainly because other than his head, he's mostly human-shaped with regular human clothes, I suppose. But as the video goes on, I'm going to be picking characters that are further and further away from a human form, so that the design challenge gets harder and harder. I really do think that Kane is kind of a masterclass on how you can use body language, your voice actor, and just the positioning of something like the eyes in order to create a lot of dynamic emotions, because I feel like in the actual episodes, it's pretty impressive how much I feel like I'm seeing his face or his reaction to stuff, but in reality, he doesn't have a face. He has floating eyeballs and teeth, and that's it. So I just think it's really cool. I think all the animation in this show is just insane, and I am really looking forward to seeing more of it. So here is our human form of Kane. This one was pretty close to the original character design, so not too crazy, but it's about to get a lot weirder. Next up is Jax. Jax is also a character that feels kind of familiar but still has his own original flair. Jax is a rabbit, and generally it seems like he's just there in the cast to be a total misanthrope and cause problems for everybody else. He seems pretty chaotic in the way that he actually makes decisions about what he's gonna do, and it seems like he does have a bit of a sadistic streak. He likes to see people in dismay, even to the point of throwing poor Ragatha in the deep fat fryer in episode 4. He's definitely one of those characters, and I think a lot of people are giving him the Tumblr sexy man treatment. A lot of people really like him and think that he's very appealing, so of course I'm going to sprinkle in a bit of that in my human redesign. I also know that he's kind of inspired, like a lot of the characters, by old-fashioned rubber hose animation, and he specifically has this rabbit design, so I definitely wanted to actually give him some kind of nod or wink to Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. Oswald is kind of from the Felix the Cat era of old style animation, and I just popped that as a tattoo on his arm. Again, I'm kind of really leaning into this Tumblrification of this character. I hope that doesn't annoy too many people, but I just couldn't resist with this particular character. He's just so perfect for it. He's like I've said, he's very misanthropic, kind of sadistic, but not to the point that he becomes totally abhorrent. He's very like tall and lanky, and he has that sort of sardonic look in his eyes. Also, when he opens his mouth, his teeth turn sharp and pointy. I mean, come on, I couldn't resist. He's honestly got a pretty adorable like overall jumpsuit on, and his whole color palette is actually really sweet and adorable. Like, he looks like a little sugar plum or something. Like, he's a lilac rabbit with like butter yellow gloves and a pastel pink overall set. Like, it's just very cute. I'm gonna keep, again, all the colors basically the same. I'm gonna play around with some different colors for separating his hair and his little hat that I have here, and of course I'm giving him piercings as well. I'm really giving him kind of that punk energy. Of course, we don't know even if all of the characters in Amazing Digital Circus originally were human. I think that it's kind of implied, at least, that Jax, Ragatha, obviously Pomy, were human at one point. So I think that it's a safe bet, but I do wonder if there's going to be some twists and turns as we go along in this story. I do like that this story starts with so little information about where our characters are coming from, so we're kind of in the same boat as Pomy, just completely unaware of what the end goal is here, where she came from, but having this sort of longing to know about her origins and the origins of these other characters. I really do wonder if the way that they're depicted in the circus is giving us clues about who they were in the human world. I almost wonder if maybe Jax was some kind of handyman or something. Like, if you actually look at the gloves that he's wearing and his overalls, it almost seems like he was like a plumber or a gardener or something. But I took his human character, again, in more of a punk kind of direction. Like, apparently he's canonically 22, which actually makes him one of the youngest characters in the show. So I can almost picture him having kind of a blue-collar-y job like his outfit is depicting, but also like maybe he has some kind of band or other like creative project on the side. Next up we have Zubal, and I really like Zubal as a character. They definitely seem almost kind of like a Marceline type character, kind of depressed vibes, but also a really cool character, and this design is just fantastic to me. It's actually constantly changing. The parts on Zubal switch out, so I'm basing this particular human form on one particular picture of Zubal, but oftentimes the wing, the like little horn things at the top, various parts of their design changes rapidly throughout the show, and I think that that's really cool and a good usage of the 3D animation medium again, because I assume that they're able to snap on these different pieces onto the rig whenever they want to switch them out, which again, yeah, I think that they're really utilizing this medium for all that it's worth, and I think that that's super fun. I wanted to try to keep this kind of head shape a little bit. It's definitely more like a triangle, so a little more difficult to transfer into a human head, but we're doing this kind of choppy mod sort of look, which I think makes sense because what we know about Zubal more than anything else is that they're really having a hard time feeling like at home with the way that they look or their appearance, which is why Kane actually gives them a box of different parts that they can swap in and out, which doesn't seem to be doing the trick, but it is a very fun, interesting sort of cartoon gag opportunity, and I tried to just keep this character. I think they kind of look like they're in like the deep, cool fashion scene, or they're almost giving kind of like club kid drag look kind of energy, or maybe like a really high tier fashion show or fashion school student. Just a crazy mixture of various different accessories, hair clips. Nothing is symmetrical, nothing really matches, and I think that really makes sense for Zubal. I almost wonder if in the real human world, if Zubal would actually not look that wild and crazy, just because they seem really uncomfortable with themselves. So I actually wonder if maybe in real life they would be kind of like hiding under a hoodie and just trying not to draw attention. But I thought it would be a lot more fun to humanize them, more accurate to their circus persona. So I'm trying to keep it really traditional to this very untraditional picture of them. They kind of look like an I Spy, which I think is so fantastic. Like, this character design is just really great. The only thing that it reminds me of is a character from Foster's Home, this one in particular. I'm getting kind of a bad feeling about Zubal for some reason. I feel like something bad is going to happen to them, or either that or they're going to have like a breakthrough soon. But as we've seen in the show so far, it actually doesn't wince away from completely removing characters or, you know, like destroying them ostensibly. So it makes one a little bit nervous. I also wanted to say I was really impressed with how creepy they were willing to go. I think it was in episode 3, the horror episode. Like, it was very creepypasta like, that face that they came up with, but man, it really it's actually scary. Like, I'm always torn about like feeling like this is a kids show or not, because elements of it feel sort of kids show like, but then every once in a while they do something that just, you know, would never fly on current networking for kids. So I guess that's what's so beautiful about indie animation. It doesn't have to be sort of stuck in that one age bracket, and it can be its totally own thing. So there are my 4 humanized versions of the characters from the amazing digital circus. Thank you so much for watching till the end, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much to my wonderful patrons and members, including Stop Spinning, Silva Soul, West Art Channel, A Playful Fawn, Prince Piplup III, Mash In It, Forco, Honey Kitten 18, Nee Nico, Novel Goblin, Lauro, Data, Lily McFarlane, Artist James, Skitten, Gold Pikachu, Among Us Skibbity, Azri Cryptid, Glee, Hoodie Doodle, River D Goblin, Gato de Luz, Goodbye Number 4, Raz Tarosh, Becca, Kobe Octo VTuber, Graveyard Moss, Grexius, Maddie Momo, The Midwestern Menace, CB, Lucia Majiki, Live Live, Ravens Crow, Zosalot, T-Hill Music, Jabber Dabber Doo, Light Julie, Kadaria, Astral Fox Art, The Expressive Poker Face, Tsubaki, Cutie Pie, Cola, JJ Jade, and of course, Blah 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 Blah.